I'm not crazy. Even my psychiatrist says so. I can't prove mathematically that the past and the future don't exist in that order, but I can't prove they do. I can't prove that what actually happened is more real than what could have happened, especially in Vietnam. What I'm getting at is my 45. I'd always wanted a job where I had to carry a gun. Eventually, I discovered that mine, genetically speaking, was Sam Browning's model 1911 A1 Colt automatic. While most guys couldn't hit the broadside of anything with it, for me, it was like pointing my finger and saying, there. But like most things, after the first week, I changed my mind. The damn thing weighed a ton. I could always feel it under my arm like a fucking growth, and you had to clean it. It was always a bother, whispering, I'm dirty, I'm getting rusty, I'm your responsibility. So one day I'm flying. I'm responsible for a section, 2 birds, a come-what-may afternoon of hauling, ferrying, medevacing. Now we're shut down to save fuel, waiting for the grunts to get their act together, when out of nowhere, a bunch of kids run toward us. They're young, mostly naked, shorts, barefoot, 8 or 9, Gunu kids, who knows. And instantly I don't like it. One of them has a grenade or a bomb. Nobody can prove they don't, so I yell, get lost, get out of here. Then one jumps up on the sponson and starts climbing up the side of my helicopter, like he's the crew chief. Big smile like he knows something. Oh shit, I think, and yell, hey asshole, get off my fucking helicopter. And reach under my arm, and then the kid is sitting on my front sight when I hear a calm, husky voice like God. Okay, climb down. It's my crew chief, Corporal Mac, with an armload of sea ration boxes from the grunt resupply pile. The kids start screaming and surround Mac like he's John Wayne or something, and I'm standing there looking at my hand and what's in it. Another second, that's all. A split second, and life would have changed. That's the last thing I remember about the 45. And here I am, still at that moment when it didn't, but could have changed, and the could have is as real as the didn't. The whole thing gets fuzzy, and my psychiatrist says nobody knows for sure, and that it's okay that I keep thinking about it, keeping a lid on it, trying to figure it out. It happened in the middle of the night. Because I woke up and I went downstairs and I took out a kind of a scratch pad by the telephone, and I woke up the next morning and saw the scratch pad and read it, and that's where the story was. But it's based on something that actually happened, and I can still remember us in that situation, being shut down in a field that was kind of behind China Beach, in close to Da Nang, and you know, I can't remember why we were there, except anytime we were someplace, we were always waiting for something like that. So we were waiting for the grunts to get their act together. I can still remember the kids kind of climbing all over it, just the way I climbed all over things when I was a kid. Like if somebody had a construction site and there was a bulldozer there, and the guys would have lunch, we'd climb all over stuff. So sure, it was kids being kids, you know, the same way they are everywhere. So when we had the reading, the Veterans Writing Workshop reading, and I read it, people were wide-eyed and kind of agape listening to it. And since then, several people have kind of approached me out of nowhere and said that they really liked it. And of course, the whole thing is kind of a middle-of-the-night gift. So, you know, I feel like, you know, who can complain? You know, so. As I think back 50 years back, I can remember stuff that happened in Vietnam. I can remember call signs. I can remember LZs. I can remember stuff vividly. And if somebody said, well, what can you remember from the 80s and the 90s? Practically nothing. The ones that are Vietnam stories are, for the most part, factual. You know, they're missions that I was on, and reflect people's performance in the cockpit. And I was struck by how extraordinary these men are. They were doing the impossible. You know, they were in equipment that wasn't designed to do that, and they were making it do it, and they were pulling out stuff out of nowhere to save people. And you know, I didn't say to myself, well, someday I'm going to write about this, but it never went away. And it was also the losses. You know, people who got up in the morning and had breakfast and put their stuff on and put their bullet bouncer on and their hard hat on and went out and didn't come back. The thing about the writing that's interesting is it allows me and others to fix what's wrong. There's something about writing about it that allows you to change in your thinking what happened. Now, suddenly there's an aspect of the story that's positive and that's not just totally negative. And son of a gun, if you just haven't changed history, and I think I've seen it with guys in the writing workshop. They come in and they sit down and they read something and by the time the session's over, they're standing straighter. They're talking differently, and we all know who those people are, and basically it's changed them. It's turned them around. Anytime I've seen veterans in therapy groups, I don't think I've seen it work that way. I don't think I've ever seen it work to the point where it says I've got a handle on it. You know, I'm in charge. I'm in control. And so much of what seems to happen with people who are struggling with the past is the feeling of frustration and not being in control. And the writing puts you in control. You know, with the writing you can be anywhere and you can do anything, and you're suddenly in charge, and it's magic.